We've decided to stick with the 80s for our next project, but this time it's 2 wheels rather than 4. A game-changing, rule-breaking superbike is on our wish list, and Paul's found a cracker.
Honda CBR, a very, very well-regarded, well-sought-after machine. This was all as a usable bit of flash, I think, weren't they?
Perfect. A biking icon from the 80s that changed the way sports bikes were designed and built forever. But is it going to break the bank?
Well, the thing is, you know, mid to late teens buys you a pretty good usable classic bike, doesn't it? You know, be it Honda, whatever else. So I would have thought up to a couple of grand.
Sounds like this is the one for us.
Lot 122, 1988, Honda CBR600.
Here we go.
Oh, these are good value for money. Submit it from the word go. Provisional, 3 grand, £3,000.
Not a great start.
Selling it provisionally from the word go. Are you all done then? £3,000. Submitting for the first, second, third, and 3-1. 3,100. 3,001. What? Bought by a man who hasn't got a motorcycle licence. 3,100. 3,001. In fact, I doubt if he's got a fishing licence. 3,100 and going then.
He's got a TV licence.
3,001 provisionally. 3,100 submitting.
Seems as though we may have paid over the odds.
If you want a bike, you've got to pay up, haven't you?
But don't worry, we've got a plan. Our 1988 Honda CBR is heading across the Pennines. There's not much Lorna Winstanley doesn't know about Japanese bikes from the 70s and 80s.
According to this, 35,500 miles. It's not a stupid amount of miles. I mean, I've got an old CBR with 115 on the clock, so, and I've got another one with 90. So the mileage shouldn't be an issue.
Lorna started riding bikes in the early 2000s and hasn't looked back, racing and working on them. First as a hobby, now as a full-time job. The Honda CBR was her very first racing bike.
I do have a soft spot for them. If I could only have one bike, it would be the CBR600. For its age, I would say it's average, just with what I can see. A scuff indicator, so it has been down on that side then, looking at that.
We should also mention at this point that it's a non-runner.
Well, yeah, that's about right. No, it's... I can't see there being any kind of catastrophic engine failure in there. It's Honda, you know, they're normally pretty bulletproof.
So Lorna's happy. Until we tell her we paid over 3 grand.
You're joking? Oh my God. Wow. Really?
Yeah.
If I was going out to buy a project for myself, I'd say between £800 and £1,000. £1,000 would be absolute, that's as much.
And remember, it doesn't even start.
Oh, it's bone dry. That's not had fuel in it for a while. It's one of them, it might be you put petrol in it and it goes. Who knows? Let's have a look.
Unlikely, given our track record.
Battery's all right, that's promising. Come on, come on.
It's going.
Come on.
But not on all 4 cylinders.
Right, knock it off. Give it a couple of minutes. Right, we've got something pouring out the bottom here now. What's that? That's petrol. There could be a pipe disconnected or anything. So without going in there and having a look, I'm not really sure. But that's not good. We don't want to be setting fire to it.
And so the dismantling begins.
Yep, clear.
And a temporary fuel tank is connected.
Pour that in there. Put it on life support.
Not what we wanted to hear on day 1.
So that's just connecting to the main fuel inlet there. Turn fuel on. Oops, what's this? Ah, right, fuel hose are split. Right, so yeah, it's split big time there. Right, okay. Yeah, so it makes me wonder what the rest of the fuel lines are going to be like, if that's rock hard as well, the other one from the pump to the carbs.
Not one to give up easily.
So we'll go again.
Lorna is going to spray a flammable liquid straight into the cylinders, which replaces the petrol.
So a lot of the time, just some fresh petrol and literally just a little bit of a rev can do the job. So yeah, it's looking promising.
At Lorna's garage, our Honda CBR is in the process of being dismantled for a thorough service.
We've already got the tank and everything off, so next job, we're going to get these lower fairings off. I'm going to take the exhaust off. These are quite manky. We'll get these off, get these polished up.
But before all that happens, the brakes are stuck.
Proper tight, that. Never been serviced in a million years, that bugger. It's coming. It supposedly had had a brake service. There's new pads in there, but there's not a lot of movement in the pistons behind the pads, so everything's going to have to come apart, and I would be inclined to bleed everything through, put some new fluid in as well.
It's become clear the Honda hasn't been used for a number of years. Everything has ceased, and one job leads inevitably to another, usually involving a hammer.
Normally you can just give them a wiggle with your hands and pull them off if they're working right, but this is... We've got it. Give that a tap. There she goes. Yeah, a bit manky. All I do is pop that under the seal. They don't look bad, but there's obviously an issue. Otherwise the brakes wouldn't have been stuck on like they were. Now, I don't know if you can see, but in the back of that, the little top groove, you can just see it's not smooth, just a little bit of roughness. That'll be enough to just push the seal against the piston and stop it working properly. So, new seal kit required.
Next up, an oil change. But the aftermarket exhaust system is causing a problem.
How silly is that to have an exhaust system that it's just catching on the edge? We might just be able to get it. No, we're not. Right, so the exhaust's going to have to come off to change the oil. Right, OK, fine.
So the exhaust is covering up the sump plug, which means Lorna can't change the oil without taking the whole thing off.
You're kind of sacrificing performance for practicality when you put a race system on sometimes.
Ironically, the exhaust was designed to be removed quickly at the side of a racetrack.
No, it's not budging.
But due to our Honda's inactivity over the last few years, that's not happening today.
They're looking at the performance and the flow of the pipe, but they don't look at simple stuff like, well, what happens if I want to change the oil? Off there. I can give this a bit of a wiggle now, and it should drop out. Like that. With a normal exhaust system fitted to this bike, dropping the oil should be this simple. That's what we should have been able to do right at the start. And that bike has not had an oil change recently. As a whole, it's pretty tidy. I think once you get all the dirt off it, you'll see actually how good it is. It's just been neglected a little bit. It's a shame. Good service, bit of TLC, a good wash. It's like a Sunday bath, isn't it? Make sure you do behind your ears.
Our 1988 Honda CBR600 has been painstakingly taken apart, cleaned, serviced and is now being put back together again, keeping it as original as we can.
It's nice to have something that's blingy bling, but everybody just looks at it and thinks, oh, it's been restored, it's blingy bling. So I think if you can get the original parts and make them look almost new.
That is the key. Thankfully, our fairings have fared well, which means they don't need replacing, and nor do the decals.
Actually being able to repair, renovate, paint work, you know, fix little problems, make it look good, while keeping it original, I think there's a bit more credibility in that.
The sports exhaust has also come up well.
This is perfect. So to actually have that in such good condition, the down pipes, apart from a little bit of surface rust, when I actually got all the dirt off them, they were really good underneath. Even though the micron is a little bit faded, that would have been a brighter red. It's there, it's complete, it's cleaned up really well.
One part we were missing was a trim panel.
Ah, fantastic. Looks like he's done us proud. They are quite rare. If the bikes were used for track days or even just on the road and you had an accident and fell over, it's that bit that takes the knock. They just break and then they get lost, and that will just slot in there and just covers the nastiness, really. just clip those lugs in first.
There's a range of sort of positions, isn't there, for anybody repairing bikes?
A range of positions?
Yeah.
When you're actually working on them?
What position is this?
This is kind of, well, if it were the Kama Sutra, it's probably page 4. It's kind of scrabbling round on your knees with your bum in the air. I'm really not happy with how that front's fitting. Right, there's a lot more wrong with it than what I initially thought. We'll put it that way. At least it works. Mechanically, it's sound. You know, it's had new bearings, it's had all calipers stripped and new seals and pistons polished up, you know. I kind of think you stand a couple of feet away and look at it and you think, does it look all right? And yeah, it does. It doesn't look so bad. So it's trying to make it usable and tidy and 100% safe.
And we've done that?
And I think we've done that.
When I say we, you?
Well, yeah, well, it's a joint effort, isn't it? You had to buy the bike.
Which is where it all went wrong.
That's where it
really,
went wrong, yeah.
Let's see how wrong it went. The original purchase price, including tax and commission, was £3,379. Parts knocked us back £395. Labour cost us £1,880, bringing our total spend to £5,654. Our Honda CBR has made it back across the Pennines, and we've come to see a man who knows. And he should know. He's got one.
They rev these. Yeah, they're great. There's something about Honda, isn't there? I love my Hondas. Wheels have obviously been done. Looks lovely. Discs as well, by the looks of things, are they?
Front and back calipers.
Yeah, calipers are all new. Looks a lot of bike. Yeah, they sound lovely. They go real well when they're on song. Mine's the same. Like as soon as you get up in the revs, all of a sudden it sort of goes again. You've made a lovely job. You could still tinker about, couldn't you, and clean the life out of it a bit more, but I think that's about where you're going to take it. No point taking it any further, otherwise you'd be scared to use it. I suppose it's down to the Honda enthusiast who is on the lookout for one of these and who wants one of these is why it'll do its money.
What is its money?
I think it'll start with a 3. I think it will. I'd like to think it'll start with a 3. And it's quite a lot of bike for £3 isn't it? You certainly won't get your money back, will you? But someone's in for a good deal, aren't they?
452, guys. Honda CBR600. There we go. £1,000.
Remember, we're in this for £5.5 grand.
I don't think we're going to get that for it.
£1,200. 1,300. Do you want 14?
Yeah.
14 to Jordan.
Good man.
Jordan's telephone. 1,400. £1,500.
I think it's going to get to 2, 3.
It's on sale. £2,000. Must be the cheapest CBR.
Oh, there you go. Well done, Paul.
CBR 600. Come on. 2, 3, 2, 4. £2,400. £2,600. 2, 7. £2,800. We got 29.
Doing well.
£2,900. Cheapest bike of the day. We've got to wrap it up. £3,100. Going once. Going twice. Third and final. Staffordshire, you bought yourself a Honda. There you go, Gary down in.
Well done. Brilliant. That's good.
Yeah. Well done. Well done.
Someone's got a real good buy here, haven't they? It was a nice bike to start with, and you've improved upon it, and they're going to capitalise on that, aren't they? And it's an up-and-coming market, this. You know, this era of bike is really coming on song. So, yeah, you can't really go wrong.